Okay, oddly enough, I've been asked a lot of questions about the Nikon D500. Been shooting a lot down here. I think I've put it through about 24,000 clicks since I received it about 3 weeks ago, a little less than 3 weeks ago. Right now, I've got the 24-70 on it and been using the 35mm f2 Zeiss Distagon, the 7200 2.8 Tamron VC. And you can see right here, this is the 15-30 Tamron, and right behind it is the 20mm 1.8G Nikkor, an absolute tits lens if ever there was one, straight from the heavens. The only lenses that I would have actually brought, no, I brought 14 lenses. You know, I can't bring a ton of lenses on vacation, which would be ideal for the D500 would be not the 20mm 1.8G, but the 24mm 1.8G, which basically makes it a 35mm equivalent on the Nikon D500 crop. With the Tamron 15-30, you're basically looking at roughly a 24mm to 45mm and a 30mm equiv on the 20mm 1.8G. That, in addition to the 17-55 2.8, while it is an older lens, it tests out perfectly fast on the D500. It's an older lens, but you can typically find it for like $550 used on eBay, and it is a really good lens. This is a 17-55 millimeter f2.8 Nikkor. It's a DX crop lens. A lot of questions have been revolving around compatibility with lenses, and you're not going to have any compatibility issues unless you've got some Sigma lenses. There's like 11 Sigma lenses, and trust me, Nikon hates Sigma as much as I do. And that is very true because the excluded lenses on the exclusionary list that exists, and ask me for the link if you need it, that are incompatible with the Nikon D500 or have issues with it are all Sigma, or mostly Sigma. So I think it's all but a couple lenses that are issues on the Nikon D500 are all Sigma lenses. And having tons of fun with the Nikon D500. Remember, a crop is a crop. Field of view is not depth of field. For some reason, it kind of works its way in cycles and waves where people watching other photography channels are deluded by this bucket nonsense, or the notion that DX crop sensors are not as good as full frame. And it's true when it comes to compression. And, you know, 56mm is a 56mm, so lens compression is also different. But it is also irrefutably the case that if the Nikon D500 were scaled up, keeping the same pixel pitch, which will probably exist on the Nikon D810, it would be a 47 megapixel sensor camera. So you do have more translational information on the Nikon D500, and a huge advantage with the Nikon D500 over that of its big brother, the $6,500 Nikon D5, is that there is no damn anti-aliasing filter on the Nikon D500, which makes it at 100% magnification, ipso facto, no arguments, no dispute, shut the hell up, there's no argument, makes it look about 15 to 20% better. Since they're both exactly the same megapixel, 20.8, 20.9, who gives a damn, same thing. They both look essentially, they're both exactly the same megapixel count, roughly, excuse me, 28, 20.9, but the Nikon D500 looks worlds better at 100% magnification than its $6,500 big brother. And that's a huge advantage. There's also better dynamic range on the Nikon D500. And using a crop sensor camera, using full frame lenses, there's not a compatibility issue using full frame lenses on a crop sensor camera. There are actually a few advantages. And those advantages are that kind of like peeling, you know, the ends off of a piece of bread, you know, the dark rim around a piece of bread using the best part. That's what a crop sensor camera does to a full-frame sensor lens. Every lens, regardless of whether it's expensive or cheap, made by Leica, Zeiss, Nikon, anybody, they're all sharpest at the center, excuse me, and they're also brighter at the center. Every lens is always brighter at the center and sharper at the center. And the DX crop sensor always takes the best of any full-frame sensor, full-frame FX lens. That's undeniable. So there are definite advantages to using full-frame lenses on DX crop sensors. That's absolutely irrefutable. It is also irrefutable that you do have to magnify the digital negative from a DX crop sensor more than you do the full-frame digital negative, but you also have the fact that there is more translational information per square millimeter of sensor on a DX crop sensor than there is on a full frame. However, things are kind of flip-flopping, such as the newest 51 megapixel Canons, which are basically full frame sensors with DX pixel pitches. But that's a bit too technical for most people, at least seemingly so from what I've encountered. But anyway, been using a lot of lenses. Only brought 14 with me, but I've used about 25 lenses on the Nikon D500. And it's no different than any other Nikon that you've got or that you've used as far as compatibility is concerned, unless you've got some junk made by Sigma. But I've always said never buy Sigma anyway, so that ends that discussion. Thanks for watching, and yes, this is my hotel bed that I'm filming this on, so I'm sure you're wondering that. Bye.